So one of the things that's happened in retail is the incredible concentration in retail has led to outsized power of a few retailers. By the way, they're part of the reason that dairy and other prices are even more out of control of the dairy farmers who are working harder than ever. And 1966, you're a farmer, you get 40 cents on every dollar spent on food. Now it's 16 cents. Working harder and getting paid less. Some of that comes from retail putting real downward pressure and really controlling the products on their shelves. So Walmart, I think this is about 9 years ago, it was reported in the New York Times, tells Coca-Cola what kind of sweetener to use. Why do you think Coca-Cola would listen to Walmart?
10% retail.
They're the biggest grocer in America. So suddenly, it's not just a shelf on which people get to come and buy different options. It is the shelf that controls the producers. Now, part of the reason you may not be able to find those goods on other shelves is Walmart might not be very excited about competing retailers. So might tell Coca-Cola, hey, you know, or signal to Coca-Cola, hey, you should have a minimum number before you ship to any stores so that the small retailers get shut out. You guys see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that, you know, sometimes people say, oh, the small retailers got shut out because they couldn't compete, but they're not necessarily competing on an even playing field. And so I'm not going to be one to tell anybody, don't shop here, don't shop there. That's a personal choice. It is our job as a society to build a system that supports small retail, with affordable goods. Those aren't, you asked basically about all of America, but those are at least some ways. I think, you know, at least I can show you a way in which I think about things, because different issues are going to come up at different times. And this is like sort of showing you, I always think about things in terms of power. Yeah.
First, a comment as you invited, and then I have 3 questions, which you can answer as you please. A week ago, I got letters from 2 pension funds that I earned. One basically said that under the new accounting that was written by Harry Reid and inserted into the budget bill a year and a half ago at midnight, changes how pension funds, how they can value the assets and whatnot. So that pension fund, this one by Rupert Murdoch, says, you know, it makes it look much healthier than it is. That's a very small pension. The other one that's bigger.
So Kim is my campaign manager, and we're keeping track of comments. You know, not all of which we can, you know,
right.
but it's helpful for us to know what to look into.
Okay. Yeah. And then the second part, which is also my bigger pension I was counting on, I'm one of 10.5 million people who were promised a pension on a multi-employer basis. That one, my multi-employer union pension fund says it's going to go belly up in 14 years, and that my pension will no longer be guaranteed by the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation and will be cut by 2/3. So that's a comment, is something to address. The 3 questions are, would you co-sponsor HR 676 if you're elected to the House, which is the single payer bill? Secondly, Social Security, what would you do to increase benefits and make it solvent as related to my pension going away? And third, on climate change, you talked primarily about electrical energy, which is roughly responsible for about 1/3 of gases. If elected, what would you do to address many other sources, including dairy farming, as well as many other things that are sources of greenhouse gases that we're obviously in a rather critical situation?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to address some of those questions. I'll tell you, I think it's most useful to tell you where have deeper expertise and where I will be pushing on. One is I will absolutely go to the wall to fight to protect against the privatization of Social Security that a handful of Republicans are trying to push for. Social Security is not only one of the most successful programs the United States has ever built. Rumors about its insolvency are not often grounded in fact. And at some point, we might want to even hold some Social Security forums and just talk about the basic facts on Social Security. It is absolutely essential. It's a no-brainer. I want to tell you the way in which I think about some of the many issues in healthcare, because you sort of, in two of your questions, raised some healthcare issues. One, follow the money, right? Who's making outsized, outrageous profits right now in healthcare?
Big pharma.
Big pharma. Big pharma can basically just set the price it wants to, regardless of whether that's related to the price that it costs to produce it plus a little margin. It's almost arbitrary, the handful of the power that Big Pharma has. Big Pharma, as I mentioned earlier, they're firing chemists and hiring accountants. They're not investing in R&D as they did. And they're not investing because they're spending all their energy trying to focus on tax loopholes and gouging people. And the effect on modern society is devastating. Because let's just take something as innocuous as a foot cream. If you have a pharmaceutical marking it up from $5 to $400 and just taking away the profits, that may be fun for that pharmaceutical company. But $400 is a lot of money. And people are having to decide whether or not they can pay for basic pharmaceutical needs. So two things on pharma. One, absolutely we should have the ability to negotiate drug prices. That's something I will absolutely fight for. And second is we got to look at the monopoly problem. We have a monopoly problem in pharma. We also have a price fixing problem in pharma.
Don't we have monopoly in every industry?
Well, this is I like to say I'm a FDR Democrat and a Teddy Roosevelt Republican. I want to do some trust busting. And we stopped the Comcast Time Warner merger. We have put breaking up banks on the table. We can actually get back to some real trust busting. And in pharma, it's absolutely essential. So given that trust busting is part of my history, my work, what I care about in the small business economy, which is the other side of that. One of the areas in which I believe that I can be a real leader is in pushing for taking on, holding hearings, talking about the incredible abuses in the pharmaceutical industry. And the pharmaceutical industry is not doing so well on the PR game right now. I don't know, do you know anybody who likes Big Pharma?
Madly in love with Big Pharma.
Oh, you are?
Oh, madly. Just plain mad.
People are mad about Big Pharma, and they're right. And just like after the crash of 2008, we had an opportunity to take on these big banks. We have an opportunity right now to take on Big Pharma. We should be seizing it. Yes?
I hope you don't mind, everyone, for a question. I was really proud that I brought a question. So when you're
please.
I was like, and I just want to say thank you, because a lot of what you're saying really resonates with me. And when I listened to a podcast the other day, you were interviewed, and I got all excited, and I'm like, we have to go. So thank you.
What was the podcast?
Yeah, it was actually from your governor race,
okay.
But it was still something that
I should be doing more podcasts. I just don't think I have.
Yeah, I did do that. I like them, and I search them. I drive all over Delaware County, which somewhat relates to my questions, I guess. And I know that you have strong feelings on the oversight of schools in New York, from student testing to limited funding. I'm a mother of two in the school district, and I'm also running for the local school board.
Oh.
And I'm wondering, as far as what are some of your insights that you can share with local people at our level and what we can be doing to make the changes that you're talking about? Because I do feel like you already brought it up, that we feel that the system is corrupt and we don't know what to do or where to even start, and how we can work towards improving the New York educational system, and then just some of the things that you hope to do when you're in office
Yes.
in Congress. So. that you?
That was a fantastic question. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm excited that you're running. Last year, I spent a lot of time recruiting people to run for office, but I've especially spent time recruiting women, teachers, and parents to run for office. I did, in fact, a whole tour with NYSET trying to get more women parents and teachers to run to raise up these voices. Okay. So, one. Great that you're running. For those of you who haven't followed education policy, it was a little bit like the Constitution pipeline. It was supposed to happen in one way, and then a lot of people's voices got raised up. A handful of hedge fund managers have spent millions of dollars in New York State to push for more privatization of education. And then nationally, there have been millions of dollars spent pushing Common Core and high-stakes testing. And, you know, like most people, it sounds good at first. We all like high standards. It's just that in practice, this has not worked. In practice, these tests take away from teaching. Some of you who've been in schools know this, but others might be surprised to know that for these Common Core tests, so say Jimmy, what's your name? Henry. Henry's my teacher, and I'm the student, and I take the test. Henry can't see